what stood out for me, number one, is she didn't know any of her health problems other than the colics that she had. So you picked up on all of her skeletal problems, and what really stood out was how she reacted to those different frequencies. She really relaxed and shifted and really enjoyed. She doesn't trust everybody, so that was good. Yeah, it's great. And I could tell she was really, really enjoying what was happening. I was quite impressed.
And I have to preempt this and say I had the feeling to contact you, like we got to do this session sooner rather than later. And I think, was that right before she had the colic?
Right.
I
think you contacted me 2 days before she had another minor colic on Friday.
Okay.
I just picked her up from Davis on Wednesday.
Okay. Hi. Yeah. Like she popped in and said, "There we go.
Oh,
love this."
Wow.
Yeah.
And nice. She does have trouble lifting her belly. She has a lot of low back problems, a lot of back end problems.
We'll put those in the past.
Yes.
And we'll use the word had. Thank you. Okay.
So that was amazing. And then with him, because I know he's got a lot of pole problems because he shakes his head all the time.
Oh, interesting.
And you know he's had T&J problems because he had 14 teeth extracted. He's had a lot of pain in his mouth. So I also think that that's why some of the salt licking was going on during this time, because he often does that to help with his mouth.
Right.
And with his mouth pain.
And I didn't know if he was actually licking salt, but I suddenly, when we got into some frequencies that he was pulling in, it's like the cricket chirping. I wasn't aware that he'd been doing it, but suddenly when he needed it, awareness clicked in for him.
Yes.
So then we were getting that too for him. So that was nice. Yeah, no, she really loves this.
Oh, she does. She loves it when she works.
Yeah.
She really does. And she's still loving it.
Yes. Yeah, no, she said, just come here and hold, so I'm doing that. So now I want to ask you about an experience where we worked on a horse together recently. And while we were just working on one horse, it seemed like all the horses in the barn were getting a session. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, that was pretty amazing because you said, okay, the horse we were working on, we said he's about ready to do a release. And about that time, he blew out release. And then every horse in the barn did it in order several times. And the other thing I noticed is what they were all facing in the same direction, but in the opposite direction of the way we were facing.
Oh.
Yeah, so it was pretty amazing. And that happened multiple times throughout the session. And those horses never moved. They stayed right there with us.
Yeah, what I found fascinating about that is they have a stall and a walkout area where they could choose to be outside, but they all came into the barn and they all chose. And you were doing more osteopathic work.
Right.
And I was tracking you with matrix. And it seemed interesting that we were tracking the same things, but through our different modalities.
Right. And the functional indirect osteopathy is got a big energetic component to it. So they may have, I don't know, help each other.
Right.
I've never done that before with somebody else, so.
That's what I want to ask you about. How was that experience of doing an energy-based modality with somebody?
It increases the power in what you can feel. So I always find that if you can work with somebody else, that what I can feel is multiplied greatly. And then it was amazing that the responses of the horse that you were working on, in terms of when you would release a part of your body, you could actually see him move a shoulder or move a hip. It was incredible.
Yeah, even right when you started to say that, my shoulder started to go into that pattern. So I think it's time that a little 2-point release might have done that.
So I was also interested to see if that same thing would happen with one of my horses up here that you haven't worked on before, and it did.
Yeah. So today was the first day that I met Lady in person, although I did a little bit of distance connecting with her earlier in the week just to let her know. And, she lit up a few points. I did a couple of 2 points with her earlier. It's very nice. Is there anything else you want to add, Lady? I think she's in her own place. And
She looks like.
I think she won't be adding anything verbally to the conversation right now other than this is good stuff.